Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and we've got two bits of exciting news for you this Friday afternoon from pretty good sources about Manchester United signing two players, none of which are Alex Telles. And this is great. It's Jadon Sancho and it's another right winger, and the Jadon Sancho news is coming from somebody credible. This morning we had to talk about this bid from the Daily Mirror, which, to be honest, I said I wouldn't believe anything about that, but it leads to the tumble effect into somebody very credible like James Cooper from Sky Sports, who's been on the show before. He's a very close contact with Manchester United. What he's saying about that, very, very interesting, and also about a winger. In relation to Telles, I mean, look, I want us to sign Telles, but it's not this big signing that's going to make everybody start going, woohoo, it's the best, happy days, everybody. You know, we're not going to start singing about it. It's a good signing, but it's not an exciting signing. It's not a first team signing. I hope your arm is okay. James Cooper was saying he thinks the Sancho deal can happen in the next few days. He gets information from the club, right, says Jordan White. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for the super chat. I won't bother. Jordan's just updated you all. Do you want to come and present the show, Jordan? No, I'm only joking. Look, I'll go through what James Cooper said. So, essentially, the headline is Jadon Sancho deal alive. This is coming from James Cooper from Sky Sports, and he was basically, they've gone to James Cooper. I don't know where he is. He looked like he was on a road. It might be outside his house. It could be around the corner from Carrington. I don't know. But he was talking about, he was asked directly about this rumour of a bid from Manchester United, which is the Daily Mirror story. And he said, amongst the noise and the chatter, the truth of the matter... I've ruined it, James. I've bloody ruined it. Because it rhymes. He said, amongst the noise and the chatter, the truth of the matter is that Jadon Sancho is Manchester United's number one target and remains their number one target. They'd like to do a deal for him. The valuation is lower than what Dortmund want, but Manchester United have to get this deal done. They feel that a breakthrough must happen. However, if it doesn't happen, they're looking at alternatives. And he said again, as he said on our show, I don't see a situation where the Glazers or Edward would write a cheque for £100 million. But as I said before, they don't have to write a cheque for £100 million. It's about a structured deal. I was looking back on my video from August the 3rd and what Romano was saying. And it's like Manchester United can give Dortmund 80 million now, 20 million next summer and 10 million the summer after that. And I think Dortmund would do that because they know they get 108 million. It's a structure of a deal that United need to get a breakthrough on. And this is coming from James Cooper. And I think this is really good. And people will say, I'm bored of Sancho. I'm bored of listening to Sancho. I can't wait for the transfer window to end. Well, you know, I sort of agree with that. But we've had 3 or 4 days where it's been very negative. Only this morning we had some journalists saying, very unlikely, 20%. You know, we've had Dortmund, oh, he's not coming. We've had a week of... Look, all I can say to you is I know Jadon Sancho is factually the player that Man United want. I also know that the negotiations have always been going on. Now, I don't know how those negotiations work. We spoke about this weeks ago. Is it send an email? Is it hello? I don't know. How do you keep negotiating day after day after day? I don't know what those negotiations are. I don't know how complex or aggressive they are. But they do continue. The door has not been shut on a deal. But we've had a few days where a lot of people are like, you know, you got Flex and KG, 0%. I mean, I want to win. I want to win. I've been 90% confident since probably March. I want to win because I want to win. I like to win. But it's not about being right. It's not about being 90% club T-shirts or anything like that. I mean, I am right and I will be right if it happens. But it's about getting this deal done. You know, it's the statement signing. It's too late, but it needs to happen still. And they've got to get this deal done. And the interesting thing is, and the thing that they cannot move away from, and I'm not going over old ground here because I could list off why I'm confident this deal is going to happen, from the people who've told me to the evidence that is out there. But what has never not happened is, and I said this morning, we've never been monitoring FC with Sancho. It's always been James Cooper, Simon Stone, Simon Peach, Manchester Evening News, Fabrizio Romano. I'm not saying they've all said it, but a lot of them have said he is Manchester United's number one priority. He remains the number one priority. Even there, from James Cooper today, with 9 days to go in this transfer window, Jadon Sancho remains Manchester United's number one target. And that has always been the case. And if we did fail this deal, then we have absolutely exposed ourselves as inept again. And as the conversation moves away from the board failing in a transfer window and quite rightly moves towards, hold on a minute, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made us finish third last year because you gave him Bruno. His number one target is Jadon Sancho and you didn't get him. That's the sentence to me. It is about the failure of the board over many years. It is about our incompetence around renewal, removal and retention. But also, it is about, we know Jadon Sancho is the number one target of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And we know he wants to come. And we know we finished third, 30-something points behind Liverpool. And do we also know that we're going into a brand new season where the club have failed to get a player that wants to be here, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants above any else, and is also a player that can help us build a team to close the gap on our rivals? Do the club really want to go into the season with us all factually knowing that? A year ago, I was very frustrated that we didn't sign Bruno, but we didn't have it. I knew we wanted Bruno last summer, and I knew we messed it up, but I couldn't factually get it out there because it was hard. It was all a bit, it never really made it out publicly. This we know. And today we know. And James Cooper has said it again. He remains our number one target. Now, he did also talk about alternatives. I've never been bothered if we get him, but I think we will get Sancho for people that want him. I'll back him if he signs, though, says Robert McCormack. And why not offer Dortmund 80 million plus Lingard and Delo? It's a fair deal, says Rachel Quinn. It is a fair deal, but, are Dortmund stupid, I suppose? It comes down to that. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching, by the way. I will talk about Traore in a minute. But what I was going to say is that with so little time left in the window, obviously we need to get this deal done. We'll see what happens with it. But it really is essential that United do something major. Otherwise, they're sending us into a season on a real low point. And James Cooper did say in there, for the people, for Flex, the 0% club, don't ever say I don't do both sides. But anyway, that's what she said. Anyway, what was I going to say? Alternatives. He did mention alternatives twice. He went on to say they weren't good against Palace last weekend and United realised that they, if they can't get Sancho, they will look at alternatives. And this is where I jump in on James Cooper's grill. Not literally, but I like James. I think he's a fantastic journalist, but we can differ on opinions. There is no Jadon Sancho alternative. There is no. There is no. There is no Jadon Sancho alternative. This is where I get annoyed. This is where I get frustrated. United doing all they can to get the number one priority, Jadon Sancho, who wants to come to United. But if they can't, they'll go for alternatives. There are no alternatives. Keep your money in your pocket and take the L. Take the L we're going to deliver if you don't get Sancho. We demand Sancho. We don't want alternatives. There is no alternative. Unless you got Kylian Mbappe coming over, you ain't getting no alternative, bro. Unless you got Neymar, you ain't getting no alternative. You ain't getting no alternative. There is no alternative to Jadon Sancho. Keep your money in your pocket and take the L. There's no. I don't want to hear alternatives. David Brooks, no alternative. Ismail Sarr, ta-da, it's Sarr, piss off, get out. It's not an alternative. Perisic on loan, it's not an alternative. It is a failure. There is no alternative. So, yeah, we keep hearing about alternatives. There is no alternative. There is only failure. There is success in signing Jadon Sancho and there is failure in not signing him. There is no alternative that we're looking at. And the scary thing is, even arguable alternatives, they're not as good, but even the Wilfried Zahas and the Adama Traores of this world, we ain't looking at them. They are, and you could argue that in some ways they're not a terrible drop-off from Sancho. They're not as good. They're not going to be as good, but they are Premier League proven wingers. We ain't even looking at that. So, there is no alternative. We've got to get this deal done. Now, there is a second part to this story, and it revolves around Amad Traore, who is 18 years of age, from Atalanta. Now, he's been mentioned for probably a couple of weeks. Last night, at Malakian's, Phil Brown, fantastic guy, he was talking about Manchester United progressing their second transfer of the window, and it's not Alex Telles. Now, he then followed that up with a tweet all about Amad Traore, so you can sort of put two and two together. I've also heard this from the Muppeteers about Amad Traore. So, to me, there is more, and Manchester Evening News have been mentioning it about a lot, and Manchester Evening News also have connections with the club. So putting 2 and 2 together to get 4 with this one isn't actually that much of a stretch. That Manchester United are looking to get Amad Traore in from Atalanta, and it may well be very, very, very close. Far closer than any other transfer by the sounds of it. Could well be that situation. Who is he? What does it mean? Is he an alternative to Sancho? Well, he's never, ever, ever been touted as a replacement for Jadon Sancho. So don't get your knickers in a twist. This ain't Tadar, it's Sar. You know, it's not. It's not some Poundland Adama Traore. This is a young 18-year-old who's hardly played for Atalanta at all, who is being touted as one of the great talents coming through in world football that United are trying to get their hands on. And for me, this is exciting because I always moan about the lack of foreign talent scouting that we're doing. Van der Beek, foreign player coming in. Ahmed Traore would be a foreign scouted player that we've gone for that I think would be really good. But if you don't know anything about him, and let me just make sure that this isn't an audio track. This is just look. I don't. If anybody's watched him, you must be you must be a family member because he's hardly played any football for Atalanta. But this is just some of the quotes coming from people around him. And look, you can say what you like about it, but this is what they said. He plays like Messi, says the Atalanta captain Papu Gomez. And there are defenders in the first team that sometimes cannot stop him. To stop him in training, we have to kick him. He's also, the list of Traore's abilities is overwhelming. This technical ability, control of the ball with his touch and passing, both footed, his consistent changes of pace and direction at a high tempo, sometimes through the centre, sometimes down the flanks, always dribbling against the opponents. And in his own words, I don't know what to say. I could have slapped myself. It was my childhood dream after his first team debut. And that's a bit of a rubbish quote. But look, he's a right winger, he's quick, he's fast, he's been likened to Messi, and to be honest, I think he looks like an exciting signing, and it looks like Manchester United are progressing that deal. And look, I don't know how much we're going to pay for him. To me, at 18 years of age, and he's only just 18, what would you do with him? Would you loan him back to Atalanta for a year? That would probably be a good idea. But it would be more exciting. I mean, look, if you're saying to me at the end of this transfer window, you sign Jadon Sancho, Ahmed Traore and Alex Telles, I'd much rather that be than Alex Telles and Perisic. So, look, you know what? As long as they're going to get Sancho, they can get Traore. I'm not bothered. Let's see how that goes with that. But he does sound very exciting. But I think the most important thing to say about this is he's not being brought in as our right winger, and we don't get Sancho. This is an addition. This is a young player recruitment from Manchester United. And the feeling around this player is, and it can be Football Manager code, it can be players who've played with him, it can be the European Scouting Network. The feeling about this player is that he could be very, very special. And if United can grab hold of him, then I think you can't moan about that. I think the timing's probably going to make people moan about it because they're like, we need a player for now, and we do. But the general noise around him is that this has got nothing to do with us signing Jadon Sancho. This is an additional player who, in a few years' time, could be as good as Sancho. So, was Twansebi long-term injury a result of poor management by team medical team? Unnecessary surgery delayed while they tried to patch him up unsuccessfully, says Rob Davidson. I don't know. I think it's been very difficult to establish what's been going on with Axel Twansebi, but I do think when you lose a year of your career, you expect that injury to be something very, very serious, like, smashing your knee apart or something like that. It's a long time, a year, for Twansebi to be out. Mark, what do you think about Ollie's future in the club if we somehow manage to get a new board and owners? Do you give the job to someone else? Says Elliot Holmstrom. Well, for one, I don't think the Glazers are going to sell the club. And for two, if they do sell the club, then I think that if you got owners like Man City or Everton, then what would happen is that Ollie probably wouldn't be in the job that long because new owners tend to have new ideas. We've seen that many times. However, they might come in and go, I love Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Solskjaer's won it at the end. Legend as a player, as our coach. We want to give him all the money. And they would give him time. And I think that second option is probably more likely. A new owner does want their own man as a manager. They want to tread their own path. But the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer... And look, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer achieves, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will stay in the job. Who do you think is better out of Lindelof and Bailly and when they are both playing their best football, says Jacob Mantel? It's a difficult question because Amad Traore plays for Atalanta. Yes, Ribbit. I think it's a difficult question because I think that Lindelof and Bailly could be a better partnership than Maguire and Bailly. Bailly is very good in the air. Actually, people don't realise how good Eric Bailly is in the air. If you check the aerial duels tomorrow, I bet his aerial duel percentage won't be far off Harry Maguire's. Harry Maguire is known for being good in the air, but Eric Bailly is good in the air. So you could play Lindelof and Bailly. So I think the better player to play with Maguire is Bailly because of his pace, and that complements Maguire better than Lindelof does. Tellez is playing the piano on his Instagram story. Oh no, says Nikan. And also, who would argue that Lindelof is a better centre-back partner to Upamecano or Bailly? You'd roast Maguire if he wasn't English. Flop, in my opinion, says Anton. Well, I just sort of said that, didn't I? I think Harry Maguire's very fortunate that Lindelof made all those mistakes last week because, Harry Maguire's undroppable. Should he be captain? No, nothing to do with Greece, just to do with his performances on the pitch. I don't think he's a leader. I mean, look, what was this? Actually, let me just say this for 30 seconds. Lindelof was terrible last week. Manchester United were terrible last week. We were absolutely terrible. Who was the captain on that pitch? Who got the most stick last week? Pogba, Bruno. They were awful. Harry Maguire was the captain last week. No criticism, no mention of him. He played very badly. He's the captain of the team. We were lacklustre. Do you think Roy Keane or Brian Robson or Gary Neville or Ryan Giggs or Nemanja Vidic put up with that performance for even half an hour? This is the captain of our football club and he gets away with it. He shouldn't be captain and he needs to focus on his own performances in my opinion. So, I think Maguire is a little bit lucky that Lindelof's playing worse than him at the moment because Maguire ain't pulling up any trees himself. But I think Maguire, I know it was only Luton reserves, but he looked a lot happier with Bailly next to him. So maybe that's something that can develop. But I don't like him as a captain. I do not. For those joining in a little bit late, Sancho deal very much alive. This is coming from James Cooper via Sky Sports. Sancho remains the priority for Manchester United. They want to make a breakthrough with this deal. That's the update we've got going into what is the final full week of the transfer window next week. And Amad Traore, who's 18-year-old, Ivorian Coast born, right winger at Atalanta in Italy. United apparently getting quite close to a deal with that one. Sky Sports is a joke, says Rishab. Sky Sports may be a joke. James Cooper's not a joke. Trust me, James Cooper is not a joke. He's got good connections into Manchester United Football Club, and I think if it's anyone other than James Cooper talking about United on Sky Sports, I'll take it with a very big pinch of salt. But when it's James Cooper, I do think he's one of the better people around Manchester United Football Club. Probably up there with people, there's only 2 or 3 people really that I think when they talk about United, I take notice. We are broke United, says Kwan. Say if you want Mark to be the new manager, says Abraham. I'm a little bit busy doing this at the moment. Ollie's a good man manager, but he's poor in coaching and having an identifiable team style of possession like Klopp or Guardiola. Too dependent on individual brilliance. That's why we need Sancho, Tellez and Upamecano, says Varane. Well, it's all about opinion, isn't it? I think we have played some good football. Sky Sports are rubbish. James Cooper is not, says Reese. And we won't be held to ransom, says Yashil. Apparently there's a little bit of an update on socials. Let me just check, see if I can find it for you. Come on. Bit slow. A little bit slow. No. There's nothing there at the moment. It's all about, I suppose it is all about who's going to blink first, isn't it, with the United and Dortmund deal. I'm in the 90% club, but I suppose I need to sort of redress where I'm at with it because you can't just keep saying 90%, 90%. I'd be a liar if I said that things haven't changed and it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I mean, if anyone ever watches me play Fall Guys on Twitch, it's a bit like the seesaw level, where it's like it's going up and down and up and down, and I think that's the way Sancho's gone. But the way I feel at the moment is, and to add a new thread of confidence, is that we're 9 days out. Jadon Sancho has not come out and said he's staying at Dortmund. Yes, Dortmund have come out and said he's not going, but Manchester United are still putting it out there that they want to get him. Sancho still wants to come, and Dortmund will still sell if they get the deal that they want to take. So I just think that, you know, it's very frustrating. It's way too late. It's had a lot of the joy sucked out of it. It's basically become yes or no with very little emotions attached to it now. But I do think that they will get it done, because I think one thing, if I'm fair to Manchester United, is that with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when it's been a desperate situation, they have gone and got him the player that he wants. You know, Pogba and McTominay were out injured in January. I think it's the only reason we did it, and they failed to get Haaland, so they went and got him Bruno. You know, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka last summer, you know, they were players that Ollie wanted, and they got him for him at £130 million outlay. So I think that I do. And people can say you're naive or anything like that, but I've always been confident, you know, whether it's public things that are said by people like Romano and James Cooper, whether it's logical interpretation of what's going on, or whether it's people telling me stuff that I can't repeat here. I'm very confident that this deal is going to happen, and it's not about being right. It's not, you know, I dread this being wrong. I dread the shit we're going to get if we don't do this deal as a club, as individuals. For me personally, well, I mean, I can take that. I don't really care about what, you know, banter, whatever. You know, it's going to hurt if we don't get this deal, but it's going to hurt us more as a football club. You know, getting bantered off, you know, social media, I can deal with that. It's more Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United Football Club, that we need to get this player. Thanks for the contribution, Rick Mansworth. And did we not take the mick out of Arsenal last year for buying Pepe in instalments? And Mark, have you heard Rio's interview when he explains how Woodward told him his contract won't be renewed? Disgusting treatment, says Glenn Tracy. You're the second one today, Glenn, to do a super chat asking me about that. And we've spoken about it this week. So yeah, it was disgusting. And basically told him after his last game, we're not going to keep you at the club. If he told him before, he could have let everybody know. Ahmed Traore, Saber, watch the video. Ahmed Traore at Atalanta. Apparently United very, very close to doing a deal with him. We'll see if they can get that deal over the line, because, you know, as we know with United, nothing's ever easy. Why don't United just go for Kingsley Coman or Perisic rather than Sancho, as they are quality players as well, says Abdumanaf. It's worrying what some people think, but it's all about opinion. And why Yaza, don't get your hopes up for Sancho, says Jacob. Would you think Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be good as a centre-back, says Johnny Stubbs. Okay, the comments are starting to lose their heads a little bit here. And Bruno for captain, says Roy. Thanks for the contribution, PMV Patrick. And I know it's going to be controversial, but if we sign Telles, it's only for 2 or 3 years. So we might as well put an extra 5 to 10 million and get a young left back out there. There's quite a few. Well, Michaelenko, who you mentioned from Kiev, is apparently our third choice, Hari Krishna. So, yeah, you know, you're probably right. I mean, I think it's Telles 28 in December. So we need to buy big changes, says Cameron Ahmet. And how's the arm marks? It's loosening up loads. Like, it's still a bit sore, but had it on Wednesday morning, so we're Friday afternoon. Yesterday was really sore. Today, good night's sleep on it. It feels a lot better today. So I'm going to have the stitches out next week. I don't think Solskjaer has any intention of winning anything this year. This time around, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Everton have more to offer than last season, says Rajan. How can we get Jeff Bezos in and Glazers out, says Ricky. Mark, we need to... we've done that one, haven't we? Okay. And thank you for joining the members club. Alan Majory Banks. Thank you very much, Alan. Remember, you can become a member by clicking the join button. Get your little badge next to your name, which changes each month. Access to the emojis. And obviously, it helps the channel. And we've got a great thing coming up in the next month or so, which we're really excited about around the membership. And that reminds me, actually, I've just put my Going for Goldbridge out. So if you go to the community tab on the homepage of United Stand, you'll see the link to my latest Going for Goldbridge. Trying to get up to 100,000 subscribers on that channel, so please do check it out. Going for Goldbridge, just type it and go and give it a watch. And is Telles happening, says Fayaz. I mean, look, it's a joy to do a video not on Telles, because we are in that area with Telles where it's boring me to death. This deal we have been working on pretty much all week, and he will sign at some point. But as per bloody usual with Manchester United, they've sapped all enjoyment out of this deal. So it's nice to be talking about Sancho. It's nice to be talking about Ahmad Traore. And whatever happens with Tellez, happens with Tellez. But to be honest with you, I cannot do another video about Tellez in talks. We cannot... I don't want to see another tweet from Romano saying United are still in talks. You know, it's very close. I just want, here we go, get him in the shirt. Thank you very much. Get out. I mean, realistically, why is he not playing against Brighton? I'm not saying we need him because we've got Luke Shaw, but it just drags on all the bloody time. We need a director and we have high wages, too much time buying or selling players. So if the whole world know our problems and how to solve them, what's the board doing? Are they blind? Says Yusuf. Well, I agree with you, Yusuf. I agree with you. It's the board that's the issue at Manchester United. They should be sacking these people who are rubbish at what they do. There are two types of wood in this world: greenwood and woodwood, says Red Slays. And which would you rather take, Sancho in or Glazers out, Mark? Says Zach. I've been asked this before. Thanks for the super chat. I would take new owners over getting Sancho because long term we would be better off. It's not Adama Traore. It's Ahmad Traore of Atalanta. You know, I wouldn't mind Adama Traore. I think he'd be a very, very good player for Manchester United, but it's not him. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. I think the next few days are going to be very interesting. I think we're going to be doing some instant reactions to signings. So make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. Click the bell to get your notifications on. I'm back at 8 o'clock unless anything happens before that. Have a fantastic Friday afternoon. Look, let's not get carried away. You know, it's not amazing news, but it's better news than we had this morning. I think when James Cooper comes out, he's very close to Manchester United and says that Sancho's our priority. People will moan about that, but what more do you want? He is the priority. There's time still to get this deal done. Let's get it done. Thanks for watching. 90% Club is alive and kicking. Speak to you soon. Bloody hell. It's soft sell. Oh, I'm also playing a bit of FIFA on Mark Goldbridge. That's football in about 20 minutes if you want to join me there. And please do give Going for Goldbridge a watch. I'm trying to get up to 100,000 subscribers on that channel. So just give it a watch. It's almost like a pilot. Type in Going for Goldbridge on YouTube or go to the community page on our page. Just give it a watch. See what you think. And if you like that content, please do subscribe. It's there for you to watch. Speak to you in a bit. I'm just going to sit here till the 8 o'clock show. They don't realise this is what I do when I finish the live show. I just have to sit here lonely, looking at the trophies and, yeah, playing I Spy. It's just a very lonely experience. People think I, finish going live and go off and do other things. But no, I just sit here waiting all day, waiting to go live, back talking to people.